Now that we know how Blender works, let's go ahead and create a quick wallpaper for our desktop using some of the tools we've learned so far. So we're going to create a quick background using a plain object. So just like we've seen multiple times now, let's just extrude and add a few loop cuts like that and shade it smooth. And now you can just use any kind of random shapes, but I have an idea, so you need some sort of reference. So I have an idea. I'm going to create sort of cylindrical discs, and then I'm going to place them or stack them on top of one another, and that will be able to sort of create this wallpaper. Let's go ahead and add a solidify modifier so we have some thickness. Now the reason I like the solidify modifier is that it gives me more control. Let's shade it smooth. Let's open our operators panel, and we're going to enable auto smooth, and then let's go ahead and quickly create more copies. So just shift D to duplicate, and then just scale up and sort of experiment around. So this is kind of a trial and error process. You sort of play around with settings and stuff until you're happy with it. So you just sort of go back and forth, play until you're happy with it. So I'll just spend a few minutes. Okay, now that we have the shape completed, as you can see that I created some UV spheres, scaled them down, and I added these shapes. So you can do that using this UV sphere. And now let's go ahead and add a camera. So it should be somewhere. I often forget where that is. Let's go through camera and use Shift tilde to move our camera. I'm going to just move it back, something like here. Just sort of fine tune and adjust the placement of the camera. And let's add a new window so that we can look through this camera in that window. And let's just turn off all the overlays, and then we can enable the rendering mode on this window. So it's going to give us like a quick look on while we work on this in this other viewport. Let's enable cycles, GPU compute, and for now we're not going to touch our sample settings. Let's just add some lights. So under lights, I'm going to add an area light. Let's move it up, scale it up so that we have softer shadows. Let's go to our light data and increase the light to something like 8,000. Okay, as you can see on the right, I'm able to sort of quickly see how my scene is tuning up, and then I can sort of freely work in this right viewport. Okay, so I'm happy with the shape that it turned out. So let's go ahead and create a few more copies of these lights, and then I can sort of place them from a different direction, just to give it sort of a side angle light and make some of the darker areas more soft. And then same thing on the other side. And I think I might need two lights for the background. I just need to rotate this light a little bit, so I'm going to press period on my keyboard to open this pivot point, and then I'm going to change it to 3D cursor. You can do the same thing at the top. We've already seen how transform pivot point works. So just like that, a light is now set up. So I'm sort of rotating this around the 3D cursor in the world origin. That makes it a bit easier. Okay, I think I'm happy with how it's turning out. Let's go ahead and create a few copies of these lights. So I'm going to select it, move it to the back there, and let's just create one more copy. Okay, it's still rotating around that, so I'm going to press period again and go back to the median point, transform pivot point, and let's just keep rotating the light and stuff. I think I might need to sort of play around with the light color a little bit because it's too bright. Okay, so I'll go ahead and select the light, go to the light properties area, and let's just make it more of a reddish tone. And then let's go to this other light, and I think I'll go with something like more of this cyan color. Okay, let's just... So again, as I said, it's kind of a back and forth process because I'm sort of creating an abstract art and I don't have an exact reference to match. So it requires kind of going back and forth, tweaking stuff that you don't like, and then sort of settling for things that you like. Let's just give it same color tones for this background lights. And there's the other light. Let's go ahead and select that. And again, I'm sort of giving it the matching colors that I have on the front. Okay, so I think I'm happy. Let's just add a bit of final tweaks. I'm just sort of moving this down to see if I have a plain background, or do I want sort of more of a background where it sort of rolls over. I think I'm happy with the results so far. So let's go ahead and render this, a quick render. I'm going to go ahead and enable render to see how it turns out. Okay, I see a bit of problem there. We have our initial sphere that I created as a copy in case I wanted to go back. It's visible in our render, so I need to close out of this render window and fix that. So let's just do that. I'll go ahead and close out of this window, and let's just find that in outliner, and we're going to hide that in our render. Also, I'm going to increase the samples. So under my render samples, let's go with something like maybe, you know what, let's go with 256, and if we need, we can add more. And let's just render this again. Okay, so as you can see, I think I'm pretty happy with the results. I'll go ahead and save this image on my desktop. Alright, so here's the final image. As you can see, we just spent like less than 10 minutes and we created this beautiful wallpaper in 3D. And here's what it looks like on my desktop. Now, here's a quick exercise for you. If you followed along with this tutorial and you want to sort of create the same wallpaper, I would sort of give you a bit of challenge. You can see that we have a bit of jagged edges on these plates. So go ahead and spend some time and try and figure out how you can like change this to a more rounder object without like recreating this whole thing from scratch. Because it's quite easy to do. So you can see that by just spending like 2 minutes, I was able to create this another same wallpaper, same place, and everything was same. So I just moved from this step to this one. So this is kind of a challenge for you.